Welcome to A Sex Worker's Guide to the Galaxy, where the answer to life, the universe, and everything is sex workers. I'm your host, Parker Westwood, and you know it already if you've been listening. This episode is the second half of my conversation with my good friend and very, very dear human to me, Lena Czura. This episode, we talk about spirituality, the practice of somatics and energy work. We talk a lot about boundaries and cultivating resilience. All very important things to both of us. So it's a really fantastic conversation, in my humble opinion. Yeah, and we're still in Pride Month. I hope you all are celebrating as much as possible and just cultivating community wherever you can, because that's really what's going to save us and what this month is all about, respecting each other for who we are and celebrating each other for who we are. Don't forget to celebrate yourself a little bit. And I'll remind us all once more that the first Pride was a protest, so let us not forget. Sometimes we need to raise our voices and wreak some havoc in order for people to know that change needs to be made. And we look good while we do it. I'm really grateful that you all are here and listening, and I feel like I get to celebrate you every time I record these podcasts because I just still can't handle it. I'm just so glad you're here. So in the name of celebrating people we love, I'm here to share with you this interview with Lena Czura. Let's jump in.
Oh, fuck.
And we're back.
Oh!
Love it so much. Okay, so here we get into spiritual practice. I'm trying to think, like, how...
I mean, spiritualism and my spirituality, my anti-racism work is like all...
They go very hand in hand.
They're the fuck hand in hand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, like, when... my question originally for you is, like, when did you begin to develop a spiritual practice? And I think that's still a good question. Let's go with it.
Yeah, let's do it. That's a really good question. I was... wait, I'm going to creak around in this chair for a second.
Yeah,
creak, 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 creak. Okay. I make a lot of noises and I cuss a lot.
Yeah.
Which I think
it's part of your brand.
It's part of my brand. It's part of my brand. If we are in a professional dating dynamic, then you know this by now. If you don't, and you want to be, fair warning. So my journey with spirituality really began when I was in my mid-20s, and I was really losing myself in a romantic relationship. Mm-hmm. I had a pattern of being in relationship after relationship and completely enmeshing with my partner. And enmeshment, do we need to say what enmeshment is?
Go for it. Why not?
I don't know why I just set myself up for that. Enmeshing is where in the way that I think about it, I don't know, there's a definition on Google, I'm sure, but like the way that I understand it is when one sense of self, like emotional state of being, mental state of being, there is no spiritual, heads up, turns out, because one's emotional state of being and mental state of being is really wrapped in with another person. Mm-hmm. And enmeshment can happen in, it doesn't necessarily have to be like in a romantic dynamic. It happens in family relationships, friend relationships, co-working relationships, where we just really start to completely externalize our sense of self, our state of being. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, it's where we like actually, instead of having a healthy spiritual relationship with something bigger than ourselves, we make another person that thing. We make another person our higher power.
Yeah.
So it turns out I was doing that time and time and time again.
Fucking A.
Yeah. And I had one of my super close friends lovingly pointed that out to me. And I've always been in relationships, community relationships. I'm saying relationships as like platonic. Like I've always been in community that has been, thank God, like really, like critically thinking, really like emotion forward. I've been like not the emotional person in my community for a long time. I've not been like, I did not come out the womb as a community organizer. I did not come out the womb as a critical thinker. I came out the womb like ready to fucking cope and manage in the family dynamic that I was born into.
Yep.
That made me a raging codependent.
Mm-hmm.
And in that space, I didn't have a lot of feelings. Like my coping mechanism in my childhood was to like sublimate and disassociate.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that into my young adulthood, which was not a recipe for spirituality. So when I was in community with folks who like were on journeys of self-reflection, who were like getting into spiritual stuff in different ways, whether that was tarot or crystals. Low-key, I've always loved crystals.
They're beautiful.
Which I love about myself. Like when I go home to my mom's house, I like in my room there's like this little tiny box, like this little wood box that like has a little flap that you like flap it open, and inside is a bunch of crystals that I just collected as a kid, which is like such a great like physical representation to me of like that I am a deeply spiritual being. There's just a lot of other ways, like what we were talking about with Sonia Renee Taylor and like the body is not an apology concept. Like there was a lot of other stuff that was crowding that like deeply spiritual being place that like when I start to prune it away, and I began that journey of pruning when I was in my mid-20s. I'm 30 now. Hey.
30s are where it's at.
30s are where it's at. Yeah, that my spirituality started to develop. So I was first, I think I could pinpoint the start of my spiritual journey when I signed up for an online course / community that was called Boundaries for Badass Femmes.
Oh my God, that sounds so juicy.
It was so juicy. So, okay, so it's actually, this is so telling when I start to think about this. So the first person that talked to me about codependence is like one of my super, super, super close friends that I like identify as like one of my compass people. And then the person that told me about the like badass boundaries for badass femmes is another person that is I'm also in super, super, super close relationship with. That's also one of my compass people. And then you were a person
hello
that talked to me about being able to be in like spiritual community of like mutual aid, which is recovery. And you're my other compass person. So like the three of you that are my compass people, like
we're all pointing the same direction.
You all fucking pointed in the same direction, god damn it. And that's why I never thought about that. I'm always like, these are my people. And I guess, okay, I'll say this, like as the aside of what I mean by compass people is along my spiritual journey, I did these courses. I like started really getting into the concept that boundaries were important and the concept that like vulnerability is the key to building intimate relationships with ourselves and with the universe and with other people.
The attitude, y'all. There's like eye rolls.
Heavy neck throws in all directions, eye rolling. I don't my like Gemini only child disassociative self would like to be like, bitch, what?
Bound for who?
For
what?
who? For who? I would like to continue being like erratically charming and unaccountable.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to continue doing that, please. Hair flip. Cue the hair flip. I just hair flipped.
Yes.
Yeah, so along my journey, I started getting into listening to and reading Brene Brown, who also, Brene Brown as a contemporary anti-racist white woman, like, holy
so
shit.
Good.
Love.
Yes.
Just love. Like, and also her podcast is amazing.
I stole the rapid fire questions.
You
from
did?
Brene Brown.
That's
yeah.
right. And I, like, steal so many other things from her. Like, when I was writing my blog and I was like, I'm so fucking stuck.
Yeah.
I'm in a first fucking time.
Yeah.
Fucking first time.
Yeah.
FFT. I'm in an FFT. Brene Brown says I'm an FFT, and that's okay. So Brene has the concept, well, it says something somewhere, and I don't know if she came up with it or if she was sharing it on behalf of someone else, but just like this notion of everybody, like, people pleasing shit, like, low key, like, actually, spoiler alert, like, people's opinions of you don't matter. Like, other people's opinions of you don't matter. Which is super important to my spirituality. Like, when I am really worried about what other people think about me, I'm in my head and I'm not in my embodied self. I'm not in my body. When I'm not in my body, I'm not connected to my spirit and my higher power. So Brene Brown says this thing that's like nobody the fuck matters. Their opinions of you don't fucking matter. Like, they're like, you like have a post-it note.
It's because it's not that they don't matter.
Oh, thanks.
It's not that they don't matter.
I'm just on one.
Well, I just know the phrase because Brene Brown and I are in the same program.
Yes.
So it's what other people think of me is none of my fucking business.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah.
God bless that program. So what other people think of me is none of my fucking business. And, like, actually there is, like, but a tiny post-it note with, like, no more than, like, 4 names that can fit on that post-it note of people whose opinion of the decisions that I make actually matter to me because, like, that has weight in my life. And I think about that and I'm like, oh, those are, like, compass people. Those are compass people. And so I'm like, who are my compass people? Well, they can't be my therapist, they can't be my mentor, and they can't be my sponsor, because that's a power dynamic that I'm not willing to get into.
Yes.
That's not a healthy move.
Especially not for people pleasers.
Yeah. And it's not my family. Because I have we all do have, like, super deep historic shape of, like, people pleasing with our families that can lead us into some really weird directions. And it matters to me for, like, and, like, my best friends are my best friends and people that I, like, deeply confide in. And their words and reflections fucking matter to me. And also I know that, like, my compass people are people that are, like, deeply walking the same path that I am.
Yes.
And yeah, so you all are that for me.
We're walking the same path.
We're walking the same path of spirituality.
Yes.
So what was it? When did my spirituality begin?
Yeah.
I guess it was when I was 24, 25.
Yeah. With a bunch of badasses.
Yeah. First with that course, and then first with the recognition that code of recognition. Ooh, I'm getting creative, people. Creative with the English language.
Yes, it needs
Screw
it.
colonization. Recognition is a real word.
Yes.
Yeah, well, with the reclamation that codependency is real, and that's a big part of me and who I am, that I need boundaries and that I also need recovery.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so key. So how has your spirituality and kind of coming into that practice for you, how has that influenced your work in sex work?
In innumerable ways. so it turns out that I need boundaries. And it turns out that me as Lena really needs boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like, dude, I and we've talked about this before, like, I go back and forth sometimes where I'm like, damn it, I wish I would have started sex work earlier in my life.
Yes.
Like, if I could have started in my earlier 20s and as opposed to 27, like, oh, I could have fucking crushed it. But the answer, like the embodied answer to that is, bitch, fuck no.
We would have been a hot mess.
We would have been such hot messes. Are you kidding me? I would have been so wildly unaccountable.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like unaccountable, like not showing up to shit. I mean unaccountable to myself. Because I would have so deeply prioritize the opinions of the people that I am in work relationships with over my own autonomy, over my own emotional well-being, over my own mental health.
Yes.
I would have completely erased myself because I would be like, this man is giving me money.
And attention
and
all
attention
the
and validation and gifts, and therefore I'm indebted to him with my entire sense of being.
Yes.
And like
and like I just want to say, it is not all people in their 20s at this point are that way. And I just want, like, for the listeners, I just want to say, like, how much I respect this, like, Gen Z accountability to self and, like, reclaiming of self and really just, like, leaning in on that and taking no shit.
I have a couple really good friends in this work who are in their younger 20s, and they are in a completely different place than I was when I was that age. And I am, like, so inspired and so heartened. Same. Where I'm like, holy shit, you're how old, and you're like working with a therapist on what? Like, that's amazing.
It's incredible.
That I didn't for me personally, in my own journey where I did not have that recognition in my life. And I also, one of my compass peeps was like, it was just like, hey, like, I hear you speak about yourself often, like, in that time, like, with a lot of absolutes and harshness. And, like, I want to remind you that, like, I knew you then, like, and I loved you then because you were, like, a genuinely lovable person. Like, all of the magic about me, and the magic that I bring into my brand was all there. Like, I love hard. I'm genuine. Like, I'm so genuine and curious with people that I meet. I love, like, it's easy for me to make literally anybody or anything, like, comfortable. Like, I will befriend a rock. Like, I will befriend an inanimate object.
There are many crystals here.
There are many crystals here. We are friends. I that's a gift that I have, and it allows me to do this work really well. And like, that has been a constant. And I am so fucking grateful that I am able to have some of the tools that I have now from being in therapy, from being on a spiritual journey, from being in a practice of somatics and being a somatic practitioner in mentorship. That I'll get there.
Great.
That I can allow my magic to come through with potence and with a really clear framework. Like, a really clear, healthy framework. I mean, dude, I could keep going, but shit.
Because that's the thing is, like, what I've learned, because I have a similar story of, like, my 20s, I had no concept of boundaries, and my sense of self was tied up in other people. And the boundaries are for me. It's really easy to get it twisted and think that the boundaries are for other people.
Oh, thanks for saying that.
Yeah, but the boundaries are for me so that I have a structure in which I can operate that is rooted in my integrity.
Yeah.
And I see you doing that. This is why we're each other's compass people. Is like I see you doing that work, and it inspires me to do my own because I see what the fruit that comes from that.
And I wholeheartedly believe that it has made for really beautiful, genuine relation. The clients that I'm in relationship with are are really like fucking great people.
Mm-hmm.
And we have really great relationships because of it.
Yeah.
And we learn from each other and teach each other things, like, because our boundaries and our containers are much more salient. And I am just fucking grateful. There's awkward moments, there's hard moments, there's been moments of really deep decision making. But like overall, it allows me to like step back from this work and look and be like, I'm fucking happy.
But that's how you build those containers. Is
100%.
like our boundaries are not set in stone. I used to like to think of them not as walls, but as like, oh, what did I used to? It was like a shrubbery, a wall of shrubbery, right?
Yeah.
Where it's alive and it shifts, it grows, it breathes.
Oh, it's so good.
And so our boundaries are we are allowed to change them and shift them and revise them at any point in time.
Yeah.
Like we can pull that shrub out and put it over there, and like that's the new boundary. And I think that's what creates better relationships, period. But on a sex work tip, like with our clients, we have to clearly communicate where these things are and what our thoughts around them are, and it creates these incredible relationships with clients. And some of the ones that can't hack it and like don't like when you put up boundaries will just leave. Yeah, deuces. Like
see ya.
Gig gone.
See ya.
Yeah.
I'm emphatically nodding with my
entire body.
I'm nodding from from my waist. Just like I'm actually just rocking in agreement.
I love it so much.
Oh,
it's so good.
Yay.
So first of all, we're gonna go back to the somatics moment.
Oh, yeah.
So please explain what is somatics and how has that fit into your healing practice?
Yeah. First of all, the hardest thing to explain is what is somatics. And if like for other folks who are somatic workers out there, somatic practitioners, because there's a number of sex workers who are also somatic practitioners. Yeah. And I want to be friends with you.
Join us.
Because I've seen it on like a couple websites. I've seen it like mentioned on social media a couple places, and I'm like, ooh, mental note, reach out. Okay, so all of that to say, help me too, because you also have an understanding and a practice with somatics.
Yes.
So somatics is based in the understanding that our bodies are a container for all of the like joy and expression of life, all of the resilience that is built into our anatomic system as humans, and that our system as like in our anatomic body also is really sophisticated in storing stress, trauma, PTSD that we have experienced both in our lifetimes and what we have inherited in our DNA from our relatives living before us. And so with that basis and understanding, somatics is the embodied practice to align our like nervous system and our bodies to be harnessed in the resilience and the joy, and to actually metabolize the stress and the trauma and the PTSD that we have and that we have stored in us. And it takes shape in a number of different ways. It can be very hands-on body work, like working with like stress points in the body, acupressure points in the body, just to like work through and release where we have stored stress or trauma. And it can also be a series of breath work. When we do breath work mixed with body movements, that really starts to fire our nervous system. We have the opportunity to get in there and actually like realign and tinker how we want our nervous system to serve us.
Yes.
To be in joy and resilience. And it also takes place in exercises that we can do with partners or in community, where we're actually doing almost like hands-on work. That's like, when I say hands-on work, what I mean by that is like poses, practices, movements, practices that allow us to metabolize our stress and trauma in a way without words. Like we're most familiar with the therapeutic practice of working with another person in like talk therapy, like let's talk through this issue.
Yeah.
There's a part of somatics that allows us to work with another person that's like we can do a practice where we're standing across the room and we set a context for what we are feeling into, and as we move closer together, we're just in a deep sense of like, what's going on in my body right now? Where am I tensing? Where am I losing feeling? Where am I like wanting to move from? Is my chest really forward? Is my back really open? Am I really shrunk down? And all of that is bio data for us to be like, oh shit, that's because when I'm in conflict and I'm moving towards someone in this space and time, I shrink down, or I go away, or I puff out my chest because I'm ready to fucking fight. And I recognize that comes from a deeper place of XYZ. I did that at school when someone tried to bully me, or I did that in my home when my siblings were fighting and I was trying to be the one to mitigate. Like, that's where we can get more biodata that we can otherwise access without necessarily using words.
I love that.
What?
That was a really cohesive description of what somatics is.
Ooh,
well done.
So. You have anything to add about somatics?
I just love that you use the word metabolize, because metabolize is something the body does. So it was like a really great word to choose for like metabolizing the feelings and the processes that show up when we're in those things.
100%. Yeah, and that they're exactly that. They're processes. Like we like our body is so beautifully sophisticated that like we have so many processes that we are not even cognitively aware that we do, but that we do in order to maintain our like resilience as humans.
Yeah.
And our ability to still be here and moving around and loving and in relationship, whatever. Like and our body does so much.
I think one of the things too, like talk therapy is great, but the mind, like I can know cigarettes are bad for me. Does it mean that I actually quit? Sometimes. As someone who struggles with that, like I can know things, but like the actual practice of like embodying a new way of being is entirely different. So talk therapy can get us to a point where we might be ready to take a step, but like the practice of somatics is really embodying that shift and like tapping into the things around that patterned behavior.
100%. Yeah. And for me, how it shows up in my life is like I work with my somatics coach, who's like my practitioner mentor, and I work with my therapist, and those two things like happen exclusively in their own spaces, but the information tends to feed one another, and like with each of them I can go deeper because I'm going deep in both of these spheres.
Love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
As an air sign, we need the like mental piece as well.
We need all the mental pieces.
Yeah. So how has your spirituality influenced your work as a sex worker, like with clients? Has that been a piece of it for you as well?
Oh yeah.
Not just boundary setting, but like in say in a session.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
You are on a journey of BDSM and kink exploration, and I like it. I like it. Because it is allowing me, you're like, we already talked about boundaries. I'm like, nope, everything else is fine.
I'm like, let's go deeper.
Yeah, yes, I know, like that. Yeah, so you're right, it does. I'm so glad that you asked this, because now I'm like thinking in all these different ways.
This is why I preface that I will ask questions that are not on my questions list.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm just a smidge evil. I'm like in touch
trying to maintain any semblance of control that I could have in this situation. My illusion of control was really active just now.
Newsflash. We're never in control.
Illusion of control is in fact an illusion. I use a lot of the tools that I've developed in my spiritual path. I use a lot in my work. I particularly find that when I am meeting someone new, I am very much, it's really easy for me to be up in my head, and to completely like cut off sensation with my body. And I am so clued into this new person where I am like, and I can now feel it in my body where I'm like, I'm leaning in, my chest is open, my neck is open. Like I am just like, I am surveying this whole person like up and down, and I am just like so fucking open to this person.
I just got like the mental image of like a dog rolling over, and like
100%.
That's like exposing the really vulnerable places, and also looking for cues of anything,
literally anything. And it's not, for me in my work, it's not about changing that. It's about recognizing that this is a place, I have a choice. I can choose to be in this space, or I can choose to titrate. I can choose to be like more composed. I can choose to feel my width of my body and feel where my body is in this space and time, like where my skin touches the rest of the air, and like actually understand that like, ooh, this is my container. Like I don't have to completely just like envelop myself in this person. Like, or I can be really excited and be like, wow, okay, I'm going to envelop for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come back.
Yes.
And I really, and like, it's been...
Ooh, the gift of choice.
The gift of choice and the gift of titrating.
Yeah.
Is like, and the gift of recognizing that all, like, whatever, that's like... Ooh, wait, okay, I have the opportunity to go in a lot of different places here. My Gemini air sign brain is like roadmap to a lot of things to talk about.
I struggle with that so
hard.
hard.
Gosh. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. Let me bring it back to the gift of titrating, the gift of choosing, and recognizing that just because something is my default doesn't mean it has to be in the driver's seat all the time.
Oh my God. Can you just say that one more time?
Stop. Just because a way of being in the world is my default doesn't mean it has to be, that way of being does not have to be in the driver's seat all the time. I have choices, and I can choose to engage in this way. I can choose to engage in another way. And I can choose at any given moment, and that changes throughout a date that I have. And particularly for me, when I have a lot of longer engagements, travel engagements, where I'm just like on the plane, get down, boom, meet the person, and it's just like, we're here for 24 hours, we're here for 48 hours, we're here for 3 days. And
in it. Yeah.
In it. And like I step into in it mode. And I am so fucking grateful for the skills that I have now to be like, first I can breathe, and I can be in my body. Like I can be in my body, and I have the gift to be able to say like to the people that I love spending time with in my workspace, my clients, like, hey, I'm gonna like take a moment. Or like when someone says like, what do you want to do right now? And it's like, ooh, whatever you want to do. That's my, like, whatever you want to do is fine. It's just like, you know what? I don't really know right now. Like, what are our options? Yeah, let me feel into those for a second.
Yeah.
And I know for me, one of my super defaults is smiling when I'm uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
Like,
yes.
I do that when I'm uncomfortable. I have gone through entire breakups with smiles, like smiling.
Oh yeah.
Smiling on my face. Because it's just like this super, it's like such like a deep femme conditioned thing where it's just like uncomfortable, but I can still look really approachable and nice and like super non-confrontational.
Yep.
And
oh my God, that's too relatable.
Oh, it's really I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but like I know, I just saw your elbows go on the table, and your hands just went over your eyes like fuck. Yeah, and so recognizing that like when I'm in workspaces and that comes up where I'm like, I'm smile, like, and it's like my back goes rigid, my shoulders, what do my shoulders do? What are my shoulders doing? They're like really, I think my back goes up, my shoulders go rigid. And I'm just like, I feel right now in this, when I'm putting on this posture, I feel like a two-dimensional character. I feel super two-dimensional right now. I don't feel my back body. I just feel like this tiny plane of like my shoulder and like my neck and this like portrait thing. And I'm like, And when I feel myself do that, and it happens a lot outside of work and it happens sometimes in work, when I do that, I can just like have a moment of compassion for myself of like, ooh, something made me uncomfortable. What was it? Were we talking about politics and this person just said something that I really don't agree with? Like, was this person like saying something really underhanded about one of my colleagues? Like, what? And I can just like take a moment and be like, something made me uncomfortable. And like, okay, relax the shoulders, relax the whatever. I can choose to just be like, okay, like, how do I like want to respond to this discomfort? Do I want to just like relax and keep it? Do I want to like say something like sassy back? Do I want to like redirect? Do I want to offer like a compassionate like reframe to this person? Or do I want to do none of those things and just relax and let it keep going?
Absolutely.
As opposed to like, if I'm not using the tools that I have from my like spiritual work and my somatics work, as opposed to just like continuing to be in this space and then be rigid for the next fucking 4 hours and wonder why I feel so fucking drained afterwards.
Yeah.
And
the drain.
Yeah. It's so draining.
Yeah.
It's so, and I was so used to being in a space of being drained like that, like prior to the times when I was not on a journey of self.
Yeah.
That I just thought that was status quo.
Yeah.
And turns out it's not.
It's not. And I think that's the gift of doing the work around like somatics and learning yourself.
Yes.
Is that you can identify those things. And as soon as you identify them, that's when you have the choice. Because you learn the tools, you learn the ability to be like, oh, I don't have to engage in this way
100%.
right now.
100%.
Yeah. So one of the things that I know that you have spent a lot of time and invested yourself in is Reiki work. So I wanted to give you an opportunity first to shout out the incredible Reiki program that you've been through a few times now on different levels, and then also talk about that piece of your spiritual work.
Wow, so spirituality and work Reiki's a big part. Energy work. I think we say like we in like the Western world say Reiki as energy work because that's our frame of understanding what energy work is. And I have a certificate for Reiki 1 and 2, so energy work initiate. With Hozar Healers, Heaven on Earth, Hozar Healers. So my Reiki master is Amira. She's a fucking badass, and Hozar Healers is a really amazing platform for mental, spiritual, emotional mutual aid for all survivors, whether we're working or not working, and what our relationship is to the work. Like, it's such a fucking incredible, accessible space. And so shout out to Hozar Healers.
And shout out to Amira as one of the co-founding members of Answer Detroit.
Yeah, hell yeah. So it's interesting for me now as an energy worker and as a somatic practitioner in process. I don't do any like energy work sessions as an energy worker. I don't do any somatics work as a somatics practitioner outside of like in my personal life or outside of my Lena life, because I very much feel like my energy work in my somatics practicing comes into play all the time.
Yes,
all the time. Like that is where my energy work magic shows up. Like for me as Lena, when I am meeting someone that for the first time, meeting someone that I don't know, I really I do best when I just like come in blank slate and just like drop in and I'm ready to just like vibe with this person.
Yes.
And it's such an intuitive practice for me. It's not something that I ever understood as a practice. And I think we all do it, whether we're like cognizant of it, whether we're getting paid to do it as emotional, spiritual, mental labor, or whether we are getting compensated to do it. So my process is I have an assistant. My assistant takes care of all of my screening, all of my booking, runs my email. I'll keep an eye here and there. But I trust her to the moon and back to like have my fucking back and making sure that like whoever I meet is like is the coolest of the cool, and that, you know, like I'm safe, we're safe, and we're both in a very we're just coming together in a very mutually safe space. So I don't do any vetting on the front end. I think some people, when I've talked to other colleagues in the work, they're like, yo, I really like checking emails, vetting, and like that's how I vibe check the person. And I'm like, ooh, I vibe check the person. I rarely even check like, sometimes I'll check like the physical description stuff. So I'm like, okay, I have to make sure I'm like meeting the right person.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't even want to read too much into a person before I meet them, because that all of that information that I take, I just start making assumptions and getting in my head. And then I just start like ascertaining how I think this date is going to go, or what I think they want to talk about. And then I just start strategizing way too much. Yeah. And it's not fun. It's not organic. And my like genuine loving Lena magic like doesn't come out. I'm just like too busy trying to strategize this like super curated experience where I'm like, what the fuck is good? Like, I'm confused, you're confused, we're all confused. Yeah.
I never thought about it that way, because I do my own email and vetting and like all of that, and I do appreciate being able to like correspond directly. 100%. And if they're rude via email, I'm like, you just know. But I have gone in with like plenty of assumptions of my own. Same. And like I'm always pleasantly surprised to be wrong.
I love that you have the capacity to pleasantly be surprised and wrong.
Yeah.
Like I think, and maybe this is my Aries rising, where I'm just like I go in and I'm like, bitch, we're going in and it's going like this. Like I just threw my arm out like all the way across like a high-speed train. But like because I don't know, that's my MO. So I have found that really works for me. Because then I come in and I am just like, who are you? Like I'm like a little curious cat. Yes. And I love asking the questions. I love getting the vibe, and I'm able to build a more organic relationship with each and every one of my clients, because each and every one of our relationships dynamics are slightly different. Yeah. And I think that's really beautiful. And that's because I do so much spiritual work outside of this space to tend to my container. Yeah. That I can like show up as my full self and be like, all right, I'm ready. Like I'm ready to like meet this person. And I generally know like if they're trying to book a date with me or book a trip with me, they usually find me on social media, so they usually have a good sense of my brand. It's not like a one-off thing. Yeah. So I'm more just like, like what do you see in me that you vibe with? Like I'm so curious. Yeah. And it just makes for a way more pleasant and real experience. Like that's my fucking energy work right now. Yeah. I love that. Which is like definitely a huge part of my spiritual work as well.
Yeah. I also really love that you identify like every relationship is different. There's not like a formula. I 100%. Think for a long time I was looking for a formula, not only in work but just in life in general. It's like so I wanted a formula to operate my day by so that every day would be great. And the relationship piece is just like, I'm reminded of relationship anarchy, which is the baseline concept is that every relationship is its own animal.
Oh my God. You know, so I've been thinking about this a lot outside of tangent.
We're going on a tangent.
We're going on a tangent now. So I don't know what accent.
No one is surprised.
No one is surprised, and no one knows what accent that was. So I feel like my orientation to relationships have changed in the course of my Lena work, as I've been Lena now for 3 years on the nose this month. Hey. And I have relationships that have been my relationships in my Lena work that have been going for 3 years, that have been going for 2 years, that have been going for like long ass fucking, I mean, to me, that's like a long time.
Yeah, same.
I don't know about y'all, but like, goddamn. This is like
a long time.
This is just like a whole nother little alternate portal of commitment, but here we are. And like, you know, commitment of the framework, whatever. Anyhow.
Yeah.
So before I was Lena, I was really oriented towards polyamory in my personal life, and I did a lot of poly dating. I did a lot of having like multiple lovers, multiple partners, having primary partners, having play partners in the kink community that were like mutually invested relationships. Some were romantic, some were platonic. I mean, dating people of different genders all at one time, like this whole fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, none of that. Kink play still sounds like fun. I haven't done any kink play in my personal life in, I don't even know how long. Years. It's been years. But honestly, polyamory doesn't feel appetizing to me in my personal life, and it doesn't feel like it fills me right now. Like, I desire a monogamous relationship in my personal life. I think in part because I'm still doing a lot of relationship work with really tight frameworks, which is another iteration of polyamory. Yeah. Well, wait, I'm using the word iteration again.
Friendition, are we coming back to that?
Oh, we're coming. Rendition. Jazz hands. Jazz hands, vibrato voice. I just made a statement that I'm trying to figure out if I agree with it. Relationships in sex work being like polyamory. I think right now my brain and my body and my spirit and my emotional state feels very much like, ooh, I'm a container for a lot of real genuine connection. Totally. And so in my personal life, like I really thought I was a relationship anarchist. But in my personal life right now, I'm like, I want my one person. I want that to be like my primary emotional person. First and foremost, my primary partner is always myself. Right. It's always me. Yes. So I am my primary partner. Hey. Can we get an cute, amen? We look cute today, self. We look really good. I'm so happy that you're my primary partner. And I don't have the capacity. Right. I don't have the capacity to date more people in my personal life. My baseline for maintaining a work relationship is like when I leave an engagement. I was talking about this with one of our colleagues, and we've talked about this before. Oh yeah. Like when I leave an engagement, do I feel like net energy like positive, or do I feel net energy drained? And if the answer is drained, like, bitch, no thank you. Yeah. No and there, that is an immense privilege to be able to say that in our field. Absolutely. Like there's a lot of, and there's been other times when I have not been able to make those same decisions, when I'm like, ooh, this person is really drains me, whether they talk too much or they have like different expectations than I do, whatever, but I haven't been able to make those same decisions. Yeah. It's just like, ooh, but I really need that money. And I am marveling, and I hold really sacredly and dearly that like I have the opportunity to make this decision right now in my life, so I'm not going to take this for granted. And I'm going to figure out how, like, I'm not going to figure it out, but right. I'm going to be a part of building a community for like more of us to make this decision for long periods of time. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I also think on the relationship tip that you can still be a relationship anarchist and be like in this line of work and wanting a monogamous partner.
I don't think that's mutually exclusive.
Wait, really?
I could be wrong, but like we are cultivating multiple relationships, whether they're work-related or not, but for us in our personal life to desire the stability of a monogamous partner. I don't know. Relationship anarchy, folks. Correct me if I'm wrong, or like come argue with me on Twitter. I'm here for it. Like I just don't see those as mutually exclusive because we are carrying out multiple relationships at once. Some of them just are transactional in some form. So I was like, I want to push back on that a little bit.
Push back on me. Yeah,
because I too am like, I just don't have the energy for like polyamory in my personal life, which is funny because that's also where I'm like leaning right now as I say that out loud. I'm like, oh no, wait, you definitely do. It's just not, it's not how I pictured it, which is always like, you should never try to picture it because it's never the way that you think it, the expectations versus reality is always very different. But
wow, thanks for this lesson.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a lesson, but it's definitely a conversation point.
Well, it's like thanks for offering that because I feel like this is like the juicy bits that we get to grapple with. Yeah,
and I think, I mean, not everything is so black and white, and I'm like, if I identify as a relationship acronym,
Stop, Libra. Stop right now.
Hello, I'm just being very diplomatic over here. It's my tendency. Should we dive into our rapid fire questions? Do you feel complete on this topic?
For I am ready for the rapid fires.
Fantastic.
I'm ready.
Okay. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles, gluten-free.
Salty or sweet?
Meow. That was such a genuine meow.
The look of panic.
My eyes were closed and I was so serene, and then I was like, ah. Sweet.
Excellent. Kayaking or canoeing?
Bitch.
I know.
We just went kayaking, and I just had a lovely time.
Me too. It was so good.
It was so good. P.S. And by the way, the canals of Detroit, not to say the river in Detroit, but y'all, we got canals. The canals of Detroit are where it's at.
It's like a little a New Orleans moment in Detroit.
Oh, I'm so here for it.
It was really beautiful.
I'm so here for it. God bless. Kayaking.
Great. What is your favorite place you've ever been?
I know you're going to ask this question and I'm still thinking. Okay, I have three. One, Tenerife Island.
Ooh.
The Canary Islands.
Ooh.
I went there once and it was just so fucking magical. I went there with an ex-partner when I think part of it is that I was there when I was like very young and in love, so it was just like this like sexy romantic.
So you weren't exes at the time?
No. That would be. I mean, like no.
I've done that, so I just needed to clarify.
No, we were very much together and very much like in our stride. Tenerife Island was gorgeous. Canary Island's gorgeous. The two other continents that I have a lot of love for and have lived on is I'll say the places. South of France, baby.
Yes.
I am a huge Marseille. Fucking Marseille is one of my favorite cities in the world. It can like French people have a lot of shit to say about Marseille. Because it's just like full of a lot of race and class diversity and like ethnic diversity that like I mean that's my take on it. It's just like it's just and it's just so beautiful to be on the water and like the limestone cliffs. The Calanque that are out there is just like these gorgeous fucking cliffs, and then it's just the blue like the Côte d'Azur, like the fucking blue ass water right below, and it's just dreamy. So dreamy. And I will forever and always love Dakar, Senegal.
Yes.
It's just a place that I will always go back to. I love Senegalese peeps. I love the food. I love the culture. I just miss the colors. Like I'm like when I like close my eyes, I just like it's just like the chaos and the colors of just like a vibrant fucking city of vibrant food and people and culture and music. And and riding around on little card beads, which apparently they like are slowly phasing out in Dakar. Like card beads are like these really old, like super old school, like kind of like vans, that have been like painted meticulously gorgeously. I have to show you a picture of this.
Yes.
That's just and so it's like all the windows, like all the like actual window panes are taken out, and they're just like yellow, white stripe, blue, but then they're just like painted with all these like gorgeous, like super intricate colors, and the front of the cars have eyes, and all of them are going in all directions, and you just kind of hop on, and it's a whole system. And
we need more of that here.
We need we need a little bit more of like informal transportation.
Art. And art on the mundane shit in our lives.
Art on the mundane shit in our lives. I love a good chaotic city. Like I love a busy ass market. I love a busy ass open aired market all day.
Let's go.
All day. When's the next flight?
Okay. A book from your mandatory reading list.
Bell Hooks.
Any particular?
All About Love.
All About Love. It's a good one.
Bell Hooks, All About Love.
It's a really good one.
I'll also throw in there Pleasure Activism.
Pleasure
Activism.
Yes. Adrienne Maree Brown.
AMB.
Yes.
Yeah. The more that we are in our embodied yes, the more it becomes impossible for us to put up with the things that are no's in our life. And that goes for ourselves internally, interrelationally, and on a societal level. Yeah. And it starts with us finding our yeses. Yeah. Also, I gave away my Bell Hooks copy, my All About Love copy, to somebody in our answer crew.
Hey, if you got it out there,
if I could just have it back, 'cause there's some really good notes in there. Like I like highlighted the fuck out of that. Like oh my god.
Oh yeah. Same.
Oh my god, because if I had it, I would go and like fucking quote the shit out of it.
There will be a link in the show notes. They can
God bless.
Purchase. Yeah. Everything we talk about will be linked in the show notes.
Yeah. Oh, we just dropped some great books in this podcast.
This is going to be, the show notes are very important for this one.
You're welcome, literally, to everyone. Okay.
I'm excited for this one. A song, an album, or a musical artist you've been obsessed with lately.
Mi novio, mira, I'm wearing my shirt.
Literally wearing a Bad Bunny t-shirt right now.
I love Bad Bunny. I fucking love Bad Bunny. I love Bad Bunny. Can
you say that one more time?
I love Bad Bunny. I felt a kindredness. I don't know if he's still dating this girl that's a redhead. She was like redhead, real sweet looking, real like low key, down to earth, like natural, doing her whole thing.
You can just put yourself there.
I was like, I feel seen. I'm so glad that there is a Puerto Rican fucking badass redhead out there loving on Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a Bad Bunny. Soy Peor is like one of his first songs, and I was losing it when that song came out. But then when he like has been on his tip as like mad LGBTQ activist in the midst of like machismo Latinx culture, oh my god, I was just like, we were like I was already obsessed. I had already flown to San Juan for Bad Bunny's homecoming concert. That's what this shirt is from.
Yes.
Which was one of the greatest nights of my life. But after that, when he started to really show the fuck out, he'd already done some stuff around like domestic violence and stuff like that, condemning it, and now I'm just like, you have forever a place in my heart.
Yes.
Benito, you have forever a place in my heart.
Yeah. So that's not even lately. That's just forever.
That's just a forever. That's just
forever
a
obsession.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. My new obsession is Ash Nico.
Oh, absolutely.
So if we like Ash Nico, I know that the Slumber Party song is still gonna be hot by the time that this drops.
Also, Ash Nico and Bad Bunny, if you ever want to do something together, we would not argue with that.
I wouldn't argue with that at all. I want Bad Bunny, Snow the Product.
Oh, yes.
Snow the Product is another, oh my god, Snow the Product is engaged. I support her 110%. Her fiance is fucking hot. Both of y'all, I just like...
Get it.
I have so many moments watching their IG lives of just like watching them be two gorgeous bitch ass femmes just being so fucking hot together. And like,
we love to see it.
Oh my god, we love to see it. Bad Bunny, Snow the Product, and Ash Nico.
Do a thing. Let's do it.
I will die 1,000 deaths.
I know you would.
Oh.
All right, what is your secret talent? Or a secret talent if you have multiple.
My ability to meow to any song.
That's not a secret.
Oh, people know that? People know that?
I mean, maybe they don't. I do. So.
Oh, shut up. Ugh.
That can count. We can count that.
What's enough? I mean, do people know that I'm left-handed? Is that a secret talent?
That could be a secret talent.
Mm-hmm. I have really good. I have super fast reflexes.
There we go.
I have super fast. Like whenever people drop things, or if I drop, I'm like I just catch shit. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think it's because I was also I grew up doing martial arts, and so from a really young age, I just was always training like hand, foot,
That's a
eye
secret talent.
Oh, that I'm a black belt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a black belt. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. Yeah, I grew up doing martial arts.
There it is.
Yeah. This is so not rapid fire.
I've learned, and my listeners will agree, that I am the one that is terrible at rapid fire questions.
I'm here for it. It's just a reframe.
Yeah.
No terrible, just a reframe.
Yeah, the rapid-ish fire.
I also started recently getting not back into, but I have started dabbling in MMA, mixed martial arts, and it is a fucking blast. It kicks my ass.
Oh, I believe it.
It kicks my ass, but it's so much fun. It is so much fun. Yeah. I'm whipped fast, bitches.
Don't fuck with Lena Czura.
Ooh.
Finish this sentence. Good sex is.
Good sex is connected, spiritual, and vulnerable, and is a power exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Vulnerable ass power exchange.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I super agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
To speak any language in the world.
Yes.
But just like, I know, I go back and forth, but I think it would be like a Rosetta Stone deal.
Mm-hmm.
If I could just speak any language in the world at any given time.
Oh, yeah.
I would have so much fun.
Yeah.
I would save so much time and money on all of the time that I put into language learning right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Such a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
What is something simple that brings you joy? I love this question.
Lighting my candles at night when I go to bed. Like, before I go to bed, and this is like, I try and do like some wind down time.
Mm-hmm.
So I try and be off my phone and like away from all fluorescent LED bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good
Fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit, dude. like a good like hour, if not more, when I go to bed, and I love being in my apartment with my I love this apartment.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. I love having my tall ass ceilings and all of my candles lit and all the light is bouncing everywhere, and I'm like, this is like this gothic church moment reclaimed.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just feel like transported.
That's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to the end.
Oh my god, I don't see any more questions.
There's no more questions.
I don't see any more questions on your sheet. We did it.
We did it. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. And we've been talking about doing this episode for a long time. So I'm really glad
You've
we
been
finally
talking about doing this podcast for a long time. And then we've been talking about doing this episode.
It's definitely a plural.
Plural moment. For a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you so much.
Bye, listeners. We love you too.
We love you too. Mwah.
Mwah.
There it is. It's the end. Oh my goodness. I had so much fun. I mean, I hope you can tell. I had so much fun with this interview, and I am astounded at how terrible I am at the rapid fire questions. I mean, I fire them rapidly. Sure, I'll give myself that. but I just get curious. I'm not ashamed of that. No one should be ashamed of being curious. It's a wonderful quality. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so grateful that I was able to share this conversation with you all. I've seen Lena grow, and she has witnessed my growth, and like we're out here, we're doing it, and I'm really proud of this episode. So thank you all for listening. You can support the podcast at patreon.com/sexygalaxypod if you're feeling like sending a little funds our way. 50% of the proceeds go to support the work of a network of sex workers to excite revolution, or Answer Detroit. And you can visit Answer Detroit at answerdetroit.org. I want to thank Lena for coming on the show and all the guests thus far. This is our 6-month mark, so I'm just like blown away at the support that this podcast has received, and the incredible people I've been privileged enough to interview, and there's going to be more, and I'm tearing up over here a little bit because this is a project that means a lot to me, and I was so scared to start it. And now I've had, this is the 15th episode, and we've been able to talk about so many really important topics, and there's only more, and more people for you to get to know, and for me to get to know, and I'm just so excited. So thank you all for listening. It means that I get to continue to do this podcast knowing that it's being received and appreciated. And I see you out there, and I just want to say thank you. I guess I don't see you. That'd be weird. I feel your presence in my heart. That's a little less creepy, I think. I hope. Oh, space facts. I'm running out of these, y'all. I gotta do a little homework, I think. There are many species of alien that have incredible sense of smell. So if you need to hide from them for whatever reason, it's important to always keep a vial of glitter, because glitter can hide your human scent from their olfactory systems. Just pro tip. But then you look great as well. Happy Pride! Nanu nanu, motherfuckers.